the architect in the double dungeon, the architect delivered one final prophecy. When the pillars of fire that hold the heavens are raised, an inevitable death will approach your way. Jinwoo, with a steely glint in his eyes and a cold smirk, simply responded, "As you please." Meanwhile, the association members outside the dungeon were waiting for the hunters to return. They note that it's been an hour since the members of the Hunter Guild went in and begin to worry about what might be happening inside. Soon they see the hunters returning. Judging by their condition, they are shocked that even the elites of the Hunter Guild ended up like that. They wonder what exactly happened in the C-rank gate. Wu Jincheol approached the Bravery Guild members, asking for their help in moving the bodies of the deceased. Stunned, they quickly agreed. Behind them, Jinwoo also exits the gate, thinking to himself that the system architect is now gone, and he still doesn't have all the answers to his questions. After they all make it out, Wu Jincheol tells Jinwoo that around 20 top-ranked elite hunters have died. If this had been a dungeon break, the damage would have been unimaginable. He then asked Jinwoo how he knew there was a double dungeon inside this particular gate. Jinwoo responds that the dungeon summoned him there, explaining he received a message telling him to come. Hunter Wu asks if they can see that message, but Jinwoo says it was something only visible to him. Hearing that, Wu thinks Jinwoo isn't joking, especially since he's not someone to make up stories. Cha Hai-in arrives and checks on Jinwoo, asking how he is. Jinwoo replies that he's fine, but then suddenly collapses. Everyone panics and rushes toward him. The story shifts to Japan, where trucks loaded with mana crystals are being transported to the S-rank gate. Watching this, Hunter Yuri Orlov comments that 200,000 tons of mana crystals should be enough to power the magic circle. He creates a barrier around the gate, saying that it will now gather magic power on its own. Suddenly, Yuri senses something unusual. When asked if everything is all right, he says the barrier is perfect, but he can feel a presence nearby. He calls out to whoever it is to reveal themselves, but no one responds. A man with him asks what kind of person would be bold enough to linger around a site that could experience a dungeon break at any moment. Yuri replies, "I never said it was a person." From atop a nearby building, a mysterious man observes them, commenting that Yuri has good senses. The man's name is Sung Il Hwan. He notes that everything is unfolding according to a predetermined tragedy. As the military surrounds the area, Kana asks Sugimoto why they're deploying troops, even though modern weapons are ineffective against monsters. Sugimoto explains that if Yuri fails, they'll need to stall for time so the first wave of hunters can get ready. Kana realizes the soldiers are merely sacrificial distractions. Sugimoto remarks that as long as they're on the front lines, they're not so different. Sugimoto's gaze remains fixed on the gate. He says we're merely witnessing how powerless humans are when faced with such disasters. Meanwhile, Yuri Orlov is confident that if things go well, he can handle the S-rank gate alone. He adds that he'd like to be called the man who cleared an S-rank gate solo, but unfortunately, there's someone else more fitting for that title. He opens a bottle preparing to drink when the man behind him warns that it might not be a good idea. Yuri responds, saying he'll show him the best show he's ever seen. He takes a drink to calm his nerves. He asks how many S-rank hunters are on standby. He's told there are 15, then asks why the US didn't send any S-rank hunters for backup. The man tells him that a new S-rank gate appeared on the east side of Maryland, and other gates also emerged in England and India. As they speak, the gate begins to break. Back in Korea, Jinwoo wakes up in a hospital. He sits up and sees Jinho, who is there to visit him. Jinwoo asks what happened, and Jinho starts crying, telling him he's been unconscious for 3 days. Jinwoo immediately asks about the S-rank gate in Japan. The scene shifts to the day the dungeon break occurred. Giants emerge from the gate, monsters that would normally be the final boss of an A-rank dungeon, and there were many of them. Yuri confidently uses his barrier, powered by mana crystals, to contain them. The monsters try to break out, but the barrier holds. Yuri smiles, thinking that monsters from mere A-rank gates can't breach it. But all of a sudden, his confidence turned into horror as he saw a gigantic monster approaching the barrier. With one swing of its weapon, the creature managed to slice through the barrier with ease. The story then shifts to the present, where Yu Jin-ho is explaining everything to Sung Jin-woo about the recent incidents that occurred while he was unconscious. Chairman Yu Myung-han wakes up from sleep in his office. He asks his secretary how long he has been asleep. The man replies, 23 hours. They were prepared to take him to the hospital if he didn't wake up after 24 hours, just as he had instructed. The secretary hands him some documents containing information about the person who was cured of eternal slumber. He informs him that the patient is apparently Hunter Sung Jinwoo's mother. Hearing that, Yu Myung-han begins to suspect that Sung Jinwoo might possess the ability to cure eternal slumber. His secretary tells him someone is there to meet him. As the woman enters the room, she looks at his condition and asks how long he has been like this. Back in Japan, we see the aftermath of the dungeon break and how Hunter Yuri Orlov was devoured whole by one of the giants. The military tried to stop the creatures, but it was useless, as their weapons had no effect on the monsters from an S-rank gate. Witnessing the devastation, Japan's Hunter Association chairman, Matsumoto Shigeo, orders the remaining S-rank hunters to stop the giants from advancing, and all of them charge toward the monsters. They attempt to blind the giants by targeting their eyes, but the monsters were surprisingly fast and easily dodged their attacks. Hunter Kanai Takeda, in disbelief, wonders how such massive creatures could move so quickly. Meanwhile, back in Korea, Sung Jinwoo watches footage of the battle from his room. He reflects that, at this rate, just like during the Jeju Island raid, the whole of Asia could be in danger. He begins to consider leaving for Japan to deal with the dungeon break personally. But then, from behind, he hears a voice telling him not to go. It's his younger sister, Sung Jin-ah. He asks what she means, and she tells him she knows he's planning to leave. Jinwoo assures her that he's not going anywhere. He says he's been working too hard lately and just plans to rest for a while, telling her not to worry. Later, we see him sitting outside in the park. He summons Beru and asks about the condition of his sister. Beru replies that there is nothing abnormal about her behavior. Jinwoo, however, suspects she may be suffering from trauma. She had never tried to stop him from going on a raid before, except for his very first one 4 years ago. He wonders what he should do. As he's walking, a car stops in front of him. Fast forward, we see him inside the office of the Yujin Construction Guild, where CEO Yu Myung-han greets him and introduces himself. He places a blank check in front of Jinwoo, saying, "I'm not arrogant enough to believe money can't buy anything, especially when I'm speaking to an S-rank hunter. Please consider this a token of my sincerity." Seeing this, Jinwoo suspects whatever he's about to hear must be confidential. It's not something as simple as a guild invitation. He asks, "What do you want to buy from me?" Yu Myung-han reveals that he suffers from the same illness that afflicted Jinwoo's mother, eternal slumber. Jinwoo asks if Yu Jin-ho, his son, knows about this. Myung-han says that aside from his physician, only 3 people are aware of his condition. He explains that after searching for a cure everywhere, he discovered the only person to ever recover from the illness, Jinwoo's mother. He doesn't believe it's a coincidence and asks Jinwoo to help him, promising he will never forget his kindness. Hearing that, Jinwoo thinks about his sister, who may also need a potion to heal from her trauma. Fast forward to Japan, reporters are flying over the devastated city, documenting the destruction caused by the dungeon break. One of them expresses concern, asking what would happen if the giants decide to attack them. Another replies that they're safe as long as they keep their distance. This has been confirmed by multiple researchers and is considered trustworthy. They focus their cameras on the leader of the giants, noting that the largest one is the only one guarding the gate, while the others are spread out across the region. It seems to either be waiting for someone or simply protecting the gate. Only 2 of the 30 giants have been defeated over the past 2 days, and if they aren't stopped soon, the entire world could be in danger. Back in Korea, at Jinwoo's office, Yu Jin-ho is shocked to hear that Sung Jinwoo is planning to go to Japan. He tries to stop him, saying this situation is different from the Jeju Island raid. The monsters are far more dangerous and abnormal in size. Jinwoo tells him that if he succeeds, the name of the Asian Guild will gain worldwide recognition. Still, he notes that even Jin-ho, who always trusted him, is now worried. Jin-ho eventually agrees, on one condition: they go to Japan together. He then brings up something he's noticed: the Red Gate incident, the Jeju Island raid, and the recent double dungeon. All of them had one thing in common. Jin-ho wasn't involved in any of them. Jin-ho says the only thing he can proudly claim is staying by Jinwoo's side. It's embarrassing, he admits, but you're my only source of pride. Jinwoo smiles and says, that's not something you'd expect from a millionaire's son. Jinho tells him he trusts him, and if it's safe for Jinwoo, then it will be safe for him too. Jinwoo stands up, feigning a change of heart. I was just joking, he says. Why would I go to Japan right now? He tells Jinho to head home. As he walks away, Jinwoo begins thinking about the architect from the double dungeon, someone who might be on his level. That realization means there are still many beings out there stronger than him. It's a vast world after all. After arriving home, he's greeted by his mother. While eating, he asks about Jinna. His mother replies that she said she wasn't hungry. Jinwoo starts to reflect on Yoon Myung-han, Jinho's father, and how he claimed to suffer from eternal slumber. Jinwoo doesn't truly know what kind of person he is or if he's really afflicted. The remaining holy water of life is limited, so he must use it wisely. Once finished with dinner, Jinwoo tells his mother he's going out for a while. He knows there are people out there stronger than him, but as long as his growth continues, he needs to be on the battlefield to become stronger. Before leaving, he visits Jinna in her room. We need to talk, he says. Sitting beside her, he wonders where to begin. He confesses that he almost died recently. Turning to her, he sees no reaction. I'm always in dangerous situations, he explains, but this time was different. I really thought I'd die. I made it out alive, he continues, and I'm grateful for every time I come home. He pats her head and promises that this time too he'll return. He thanks her for stopping him from leaving this time. With tears in her eyes, Jinna replies, you would have left anyway. Jinwoo smiles and responds, but I'll come back. We fast forward to a press conference held by Chairman Go Gun-hee regarding the dungeon break in Japan. Jinwoo has decided to head there himself to deal with the S-rank gate. At the airport, just as Jinwoo is about to leave, he notices something. Despite his efforts to stop him, Jinho has managed to follow him. Realizing there's no other way, Jinwoo reluctantly gives in. Together, they prepare to board the plane and face what lies ahead in Japan. The story shifts to Japan, where the military is trying to rescue survivors from the ongoing disaster. A soldier tells the civilians that there's only room for 3 or 4 more people, urging them not to waste time worrying about those who might not survive, as the giants are approaching. If they stay, they'll all die. He tells them to find cover, but as he looks up, he sees that the giants have already found their location. The soldiers open fire on the monsters, but their weapons prove ineffective. Just as one of the giants reaches toward the survivors, a giant trident pierces its chest, launching it several blocks away. As the lifeless giant lies among the rubble, the soldiers stare in confusion. Then they notice another monster-like figure. This one is protecting them. A man approaches, telling them to evacuate immediately because the area is no longer safe. It's Sung Jinwoo. At that moment, rocks began falling from the building and flying straight toward the citizens. But Jinho arrived just in time and shielded them with his large shield. Then, Jinho told Jinwoo that he would stay behind and help the survivors escape. Hearing that, Jinwoo prepares to take out all the monsters in the area. Alongside Jima, he charges at the creatures. The giants are no match for Jima's strength, and it takes out multiple enemies with ease. Seeing this, Jinwoo also jumps into the fight and slices one of the giants in two with a single swing of his dagger. The scene shifts to the Scavenger Guild in the United States, where some hunters are discussing Jinwoo's actions in Japan. One comments that Lady Selner didn't enhance Jinwoo's powers. Another scoffs, saying that even though he reawakened, every hunter has limits, and Jinwoo will eventually die at that level. They start betting on how long Jinwoo will last in this raid. As they mockingly discuss it, a voice interrupts from behind. Thomas Andre, the Scavenger Guild's guildmaster. He says he'd bet the entire guild building that Jinwoo will survive. Then he warns them to worry more about the S-rank gate that just appeared in their own territory. The dungeon break is tomorrow, and he wonders how many of them will survive that battle. Looking out the window, he remarks that Japan might have been fun, but tomorrow will be entertaining in its own way. Back in Japan, news outlets are broadcasting live footage of the city as Jinwoo's summons deal with the giants. A giant screams in agony as Ant King Baru's minions devour it alive. Another giant chases a small girl, who runs in fear. Just as the monster is about to catch her, a shadowy figure appears and slices off its hand. It's Igris, saving the child. As the giant reels in pain, it fails to notice Iron charging straight toward it. With a devastating blow to its head, Iron defeats the giant, slamming it into the ground. He proudly stands atop the corpse. Watching this, Igris sighs. Meanwhile, Jinwoo observes everything from afar, and seeing Iron in action, comments that Iron must be excited now that he's upgraded. He's relieved to see him doing a good job. A Japanese soldier then approaches and thanks Jinwoo. Not understanding Japanese, Jinwoo simply gives him a thumbs up and says, "You good, brave soldier." He then asks Jinho to help finish the evacuation. After everyone leaves, Jinwoo stands before the corpse of the fallen giant. Using shadow extraction, he prepares to add it to his growing army. Meanwhile, at the Hunter Association headquarters in Japan, officials inform Chairman Matsumoto Shigeo that the city is gradually being reclaimed from the giants. Hearing this, Matsumoto reflects that Goto Ryuji may not have been wrong. He recalls the eyes he saw at the airport. He's seen countless hunters before, but Sung Jinwoo is on another level. Unrivaled. He remembers their first meeting at the airport when Jinwoo and Yu Jinho arrived in Japan. Matsumoto greeted them and explained that the giants were advancing toward Osaka. He requested that Jinwoo focus on defending the city, thinking that even someone as powerful as Jinwoo couldn't possibly take down all the giants alone. While Jinwoo handled defense, Matsumoto planned to negotiate support from other nations. However, to their shock, Jinwoo declined the request. Instead, he boldly declared that he would defeat all of the giants by himself. The scene shifts to Jinwoo, who is contemplating names for his newly extracted shadow soldiers. He decides to keep it simple by numbering them from 1 to 5. As he finishes, Baru appears and informs him that another enemy has been eliminated. Jinwoo names that one number 6. Before moving on, he tells Jinho to rest for now. Jinwoo thinks to himself that things have been relatively easy so far. But this is only the beginning. His shadow soldiers continue sweeping through the country, annihilating the giants. These powerful summons even heal themselves after being defeated, making them nearly unstoppable. However, due to the S-rank gate's dungeon break, other portals have appeared, releasing lower-tier monsters that are also wreaking havoc. This has made simultaneous evacuation and suppression operations extremely difficult. Fast forward 7 days later, Jinwoo and Jinho are searching for remaining survivors and giants across the city. Eventually, they arrive before the massive leader of the giants, stationed at the gate. Seeing the size and destruction, Jinho sighs and mutters that everything's ruined. Just then, they hear a familiar voice. It's Miss Hoshino Hankawa, the interpreter who previously traveled to Korea with Gotoruji. Jinwoo asks her about the whereabouts of other hunters, but she explains that she's the only one left in Tokyo. The others are either dead or scattered. She adds that the giants have spread out across the country, but thanks to Jinwoo, most have already been annihilated. Now the remaining giants are being dealt with by hunters and Jinwoo's shadow soldiers. Jinwoo says that means only one remains, the giant guarding the gate. Looking around at the devastated city, he's reminded of the demon castle. He begins to wonder, was this destruction a model? Did the system architect design the demon castle to reflect a possible future? But the architect is already dead, and Jinwoo hasn't received any messages or visions since. Perhaps that was his real body. Regardless, Jinwoo resolves to prevent that future from happening. That's why he trained, to wield power unmatched by anyone. Turning to Hankawa, he says they're ready to move out. She informs him the other hunters haven't arrived yet, but Jinwoo assures her that they have. We then see Kino complaining about how annoying this all is, while Minoru tells her to be grateful. They're alive at least. Frustrated, Hankawa vents that Jinwoo and his shadows are pushing forward, dominating giants that Japanese hunters couldn't even approach. It feels like they're only here to clean up the leftovers, which is infuriating. As she speaks, Jinwoo's shadow army begins returning to him, and the area becomes dense with shadows. Finally, Baru appears and kneels before Jinwoo. Jinwoo asks, "Is it done?" and then praises them. He instructs Jinho to escort Hankawa to safety. Once they leave, Jinwoo begins using shadow extraction on the corpses of fallen giants, filling the field with towering shadow versions of the monsters. As his army grows in number and strength, He gives the final order. All soldiers, charge toward the final giant guarding the S-rank gate. As he gives the signal, all of his summoned shadows rush toward the creature, while Jinwoo chooses to observe the battle from a distance. The giant, sensing the incoming threat, prepares to fight and unleashes a powerful mana wave. Jinwoo is shocked as he watches the giant slice through countless shadow soldiers with ease. Observing the battle, he thinks to himself that the creature possesses incredible strength. It managed to kill 100 with a single swing. He remarks on its overwhelming magic power, even admitting that he felt an urge to flee from the intense and unpleasant pressure it exudes. He reflects that there are only two ways to rid oneself of such a feeling: run away and forget it, or eradicate the source entirely. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the giant holds its ground. The shadows can't even get close, and mana-based attacks seem useless. At one point, it casually catches a fireball with its bare hand and continues to tear through the attacking giants. When the insect-type shadows try to swarm its feet, the giant easily crushes them. Baru, enraged by the sight, prepares to join the fight, but Jinwoo stops him, saying it's not time yet. He thinks to himself that he has enough mana and needs to keep pressing until he finds the giant's weakness. He regenerates his fallen shadow soldiers, but even their solid blows do no visible damage. Jinwoo then realizes that the creature's magic power acts like armor wrapped around its body, which is why it's unaffected by physical attacks. However, he remembers it did flinch and block when a fireball nearly struck its face. That gives him a clue. He summons Kaisel and orders his strongest soldiers, Beru and Igris, into battle. Beru uses his incredible speed to dash toward the creature's face, aiming for its eye, but the giant dodges. Meanwhile, Igris, riding Kaisel, attacks from the air with lightning magic. He fires a beam at the creature's face, but it narrowly evades the attack. Jinwoo confirms that the giant's weak spot is its face. Its mana is only protecting the lower body. The creature retaliates by striking Kaisel, forcing the wyvern out of the fight. Just as the giant seems to gain the upper hand, it notices Igris charging straight for its face. The giant blocks the attack, but that momentary distraction is enough. Jinwoo seizes the opportunity and lands a powerful blow, injuring the giant and making it scream in pain. Baru follows up with another assault, keeping the creature distracted long enough for Jinwoo to prepare his next move. He summons all his strongest daggers and, using ruler's authority, begins attacking the creature's face. From a distance, Jinho and Hanakawa watch in awe. Hanakawa remarks that this no longer looks like a battle between hunters and monsters. It's more like a clash of monsters against monsters. Back in the battle, Jinwoo uses violent slash to destroy one of the creature's eyes. As it howls in pain, he signals to Baru, who enters the creature's skull through the eye socket. Jinwoo keeps attacking from the outside while Baru ravages it from within. The giant begins to vomit blood and finally collapses to the ground. A notification appears. You have defeated the enemy. The episode ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thanks again for your support, and I'll see you next time.